So we are Group 10, and we are designing a novel artificial disc replacement, specifically the nucleus, for athlete performance. I'm Sarah.
I'm Lorenzo.
I'm Silvio.
And I'm Dan.
So currently there is a large need for a new artificial disc replacement design focused around allowing athletes to return to their sport at the same ability, or at least to return above a severe decrease in ability, particularly in high force producing sports such as golf or rowing, anything with like increased torsional forces on the spine, or high contact sports such as football, because these frequently cause herniated discs or bulging discs that need to be replaced, and then the athletes are unable to return to their sport with the same abilities. As you can see on this slide, disc replacements at this time do not measure up to the strength of a healthy spine, which actually increases the chance for more injury if they were returned to their sport. And then right here we have a chart with various different activities and the forces on the lumbar discs and the spine. As you can see, activities such as rowing can produce over 6,000 newtons of compressive forces, football over 8,000 newtons, weightlifting over 17,000 newtons, and these are really incredible forces that our spine would be unable to handle if there was one weaker link, such as an artificial disc replacement.
We want to focus on a polyurethane nucleus as compared to other common materials such as titanium and polyethylene. Per se, for those two specific examples, polyurethane does have a greater energy dissipation and absorption, as well as less dynamic stiffness. And for the overall design of the nucleus base, we want to focus on a cylindrical holder to increase the degrees of mobility.
For benefits, as Silvio said, the polyurethane nucleus is going to increase energy dissipation and shock absorption. The redesign of the nucleus base using the cylindrical thing will allow for a greater degree of freedom, so it'll be able to move in different ways. And then the overall goal, we want to increase lumbar mobility for athletes so that recovery time from when the injury occurs to getting back onto the field will be decreased, and athletes will continue on with their season. For costs, it's considered an experimental operation, so it's very expensive. With Medicare, you're going to be paying $34,355 out of pocket, but if you don't have insurance, it's up to $50,000, so it's very expensive. Surgeons require special training. There are 3 different areas, cervical, lumbar, and lower back, and they have to know how to perform surgeries on each of the areas. So patients are just going to be reluctant to try it since it's labeled experimental and it's so costly. In addition, for the future, development requires long-term clinical studies. Currently, post-operational studies only last about 2 years, and results vary.
So currently at the forefront of the market, we have the Activel artificial disc by Escalate. And so this disc has that same polyurethane base, which doesn't have the same mobility and force attenuation properties that the polyurethane that we would be using does. Also, the ProDisc L disc replacement from Dupuis has the same polyethylene base, but with a ball and socket joint to allow for those degrees of freedom and mobility. Our device would combine the best force attenuation properties of materials in polyurethane, while also allowing for the same degrees of freedom that you would see in the ball and socket joint from the ProDisc L replacement from Dupuis. And that's what makes our disc a step above the rest. Any questions?